Good afternoon. I hope it's been a wonderful weekend for you and exciting as we start to look towards school starting this week too. So that's not maybe exciting for everybody, but it's coming. The stars were shining so brightly in the night sky, it felt like you could reach out and touch them. That evening it was so quiet, even my cousin and I were talking softly as we sat on a blanket in the yard at my uncle and aunt's backyard. This was such a special time for me. I was rarely outside after dark on my own, and I was so excited to be spending precious time with my favorite cousin, who though considerably older than me, had sought me out for this special time. It was cool and dark that evening in Littleton, Colorado, years before the lights of the city would encroach and overwhelm the night sky. Had I been aware of the words at the time, surely this passage from Isaiah would have popped into my head. Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens. Who created all these? Who brings out the starry host one by one and calls forth each by name? Because of his great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. It's times like that, just like when we could look up and see the whole Milky Way in the total darkness after the derecho, when you realize how insignificant you are in the grand scheme of things, compared to the galaxies and billions of stars that God has created. And yet that very same God who created them all and knows them by name, loves and cares for each of us and knows us in minute detail. Those moments with my cousin were like that in ways too. I felt so special that she had sought me out, chose to spend time with just me, her little kid cousin, and just be silly and talk and sing songs together. I felt treasured and loved in those moments, like I was really being seen for me. God wants us to feel like that when we spend time with Him also. I will be the first to admit that I don't spend nearly enough time just being in quiet and making space for God to speak to me in that space. I'm not good about finding a spot to just be, whether it's in my house somewhere or sitting on my front steps in the evening or having some quiet time on our deck in the early morning. God desires that we use those times not just to rest and recharge, but also to be with Him, listening for His voice and sharing what's on our hearts with Him. He already knows our innermost thoughts and everything that's on our hearts, but He still wants us to be intentional about coming to Him and inviting Him into that time of reflection. In fact, God says in Isaiah 65:24, "Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear." God knows what we're going to say, anticipates our every prayer, and is ready and waiting to answer it even before it passes our lips. If He is that eager to hear from us, why do we put it off so much of the time? Let's make time to lay down in the grass, look up at the stars, and run to Him. Have a fantastic week. Bye.